Today, we're diving into a new kind of AI from ByteDance that isn't just another chatbot. We're talking about something, well, something way more powerful. It's what's being called an AI super agent, and this one is named Deerflow. The whole idea is that it can manage huge, complex projects totally by itself.
Okay, so let's just start with this question. What if an AI could do more than just, chat with you? I mean, what if you could just hand it a really complicated project, something that takes hours, and just let it go to work, all on its own? That's really the big idea behind what we're looking at today.
And yeah, this slide really cuts right to the chase. So on the left, you've got your standard chatbot, right? Great for a quick question, but that's about it. They're pretty limited. But over on the right, that's what a super agent like Deerflow is all about. It's designed to be an autonomous worker. We're talking about something that can handle really complex, long-running tasks. It's not just sitting there waiting to react to you. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this thing. It was developed by ByteDance, yep, the company that brought us TikTok. And its full name is Deerflow, which stands for Deep Exploration and Efficient Research Flow. And as you can probably guess from that name, it's built to do a lot more than just chat. Okay, so this is the official definition. Let's break this down a little. First, it's a super agent harness. What does that even mean? Well, it's basically a framework that manages other AIs. It works autonomously, which means it's on its own, handling these tough tasks. And here's the real kicker. It does all this by orchestrating a whole team of AI agents, where each one has a very specific job. So, being an autonomous worker, what does that actually look like in practice? It means you can give it a really high-level goal, a big picture idea, and it just figures out the rest, all the way from doing the initial research to delivering the final product. And here's a look at what it can actually do. First up is deep research. It can literally go out, crawl the web, pull together data from all sorts of different sources, and then write up a complete, fully cited report for you. Then there's code and artifact generation. I mean, it can write actual software, or it could create something like a slide deck from scratch. And finally, format transformation. This is cool. It can take one type of file, say a really dense technical document, and transform it into something totally different, like a script for a podcast. Okay, so we have to dive into this next part because how it does all this is maybe even more fascinating than what it does. See, the secret sauce here isn't one single giant AI brain. Nope, it's actually a whole team of specialists all working together. And this slide lays out the workflow perfectly. It all starts when you give it a goal. Then, a central coordinator agent steps in, and it basically acts like a project manager. It takes your big goal, breaks it down into smaller, manageable steps, and then assigns those tasks to specialized sub-agents. You might have a planner agent, a researcher agent, a coder agent, and these agents can work sequentially, one after another, or even in parallel, which makes the whole process super efficient. Now, for those of you who are into the tech side of things, this whole thing is built on what's called a state machine architecture, and it uses really popular frameworks like LangChain and LangGraph. This is the engine, really, that allows for that complex coordination between all the different AI agents. It's what keeps the project on track from the very beginning to the very end. But it's not just about having a team of AIs, right? Deerflow has some really clever design features baked right in that make it way more efficient and help it avoid the kind of problems that other AIs stumble into, especially on those long, complicated jobs. First up is this idea called progressive skill loading. So instead of jamming its memory full of every single tool it might possibly need right at the beginning, Deerflow is smarter. It only loads a specific skill like, say, web search or file editing at the exact moment it's actually needed. And the result? It keeps the AI lean, it keeps it fast, and, it makes it cheaper to run. Next, we've got something called the AIO, or all-in-one sandbox. You can think of this as giving the AI its own private, secure little laboratory. It's a totally isolated environment where the coding agents can go and actually write and test their software. They can check for bugs, run experiments, and make absolutely sure everything works just right before they hand over the final product. It's basically a built-in quality control system. Now, this next one is huge. It solves one of the biggest problems for AIs today: memory. It's called context engineering. What it does is constantly summarize its own progress and save its work history as it goes. And this is what prevents it from, losing the plot or completely forgetting the original goal during a project that could take hours and hours to finish. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. Because a tool like this isn't just a new product. It really signals a major shift in how we might end up building with, and even working alongside, artificial intelligence. And the key takeaway on this slide is one word: flexibility. See, Deerflow isn't locked into any one specific AI model. It supports a whole range of them, from OpenAI's models to Claude and Gemini. And you can deploy it in all sorts of ways, too. You can run it locally on your machine, in Docker containers, or even at a massive enterprise scale using Kubernetes. The whole thing is designed from the ground up to be open and adaptable. And that really brings us to a critical point. Deerflow is much more than just a ready-to-use tool. Its architecture, it's like a blueprint. A really compelling blueprint for anyone who's out there trying to build the next generation of AI applications. It's a model for how to create these robust, autonomous systems, helping us move away from these single giant AIs and towards a future of collaborative, specialized AI teams.
So, in the end, we're left with a pretty big question, aren't we? As these autonomous super agents get better and better at handling entire projects from start to finish, what's our new role in all of this? It's definitely something to chew on as this technology continues to evolve. Thanks for tuning in.